Cairo, December 6, 1912. Heat, plus 38 degrees Celsius. Fine dust hangs in the air, the kind that crunches between teeth. German archaeologist Ludwig Borchardt stands at the bottom of an excavation pit in Amarna. His workers have just pulled from the sand a limestone bust. The paint on it looks as if applied yesterday. One eye carved from raw crystal, the other missing. In this moment, Borchardt writes in his diary a phrase that will be quoted for the next 100 years. Describing is useless. One must see it. He knows what he's found. This is the face of a woman who died 3,300 years ago. Her name is Nefertiti. But here's what the textbooks don't mention. In 2010, a team of geneticists under Zahi Hawass takes DNA samples from mummies in the Valley of the Kings. Among them, the mummy of a young man from tomb KV55 and the body of a woman from cache KV35, known to researchers as the Younger Lady. The results appear in the Journal of the American Medical Association, and in them, a line that makes Egyptologists' fingers go cold. Tutankhamun's parents were biological brother and sister, and the Younger Lady, his mother, by multiple indicators may be that very Nefertiti, the woman from the bust, wife of her own brother, mother of a pharaoh born from incest. If this is true, the entire chronology of the 18th dynasty taught in schools collapses. Every textbook, every museum placard, every BBC documentary becomes outdated in a single day. And the worst part, in this story, there exists a body that shouldn't be there at all. Tel El Amarna, Middle Egypt. February 1898. French archaeologist Victor Loret descends into a tomb later designated KV35. The air inside is thick as cotton. Candles gutter and die from oxygen deprivation. Loret strikes a magnesium flash and sees what he was never meant to see. In a side chamber, leaning against bare stone, lie 3 mummies. No sarcophagi, no inscriptions, just 3 bodies on naked rock. One of them, a woman approximately 30 years old, left arm bent across her chest in the pose of a pharaoh, right arm extended along her body, face smashed. Someone thousands of years ago struck her across the cheek with a heavy object before mummification. Chest cavity torn open, mouth ripped apart. Who did this? And why destroy so methodically a face already dead? The local fellahin Loret hired for the excavation whisper among themselves a single word: Maluna, cursed. They refuse to touch the body. One of the workers, an old man named Ahmed Gurgis, spits on the floor and walks out. Loret records in his journal that he doesn't understand the reason, attributes it to superstition. The body is measured, photographed, left in the tomb. For 112 years, it is forgotten. Theories circulate. British Egyptologist Arthur Weigall in 1910 cautiously suggests this is Queen Tai, grandmother of Tutankhamun. Another researcher, Grafton Elliott Smith, considers her a nameless concubine. Someone from the French school whispers the name Kia, second wife of Akhenaten. No one is certain. The face is destroyed so thoroughly that any identification becomes guesswork from fragments. And here's where everything remains stuck for nearly a century. In 2010, Hawass's team extract a sample from this mummy's femur. They run it through DNA testing in a Cairo laboratory and obtain a match with Tutankhamun so precise that only one option remains. This is his mother. Imagine a family tree like an ordinary family photograph on a refrigerator. Mother, father, child. Except here, mother and father are biological siblings. And the mother is also, possibly, the most beautiful woman of the ancient world, whose face today is printed on coffee mugs in Berlin museum gift shops. The bitter irony. Nefertiti in Egyptian means the beautiful one has come. But in tomb KV35 lay a woman with a shattered face, without a name, without a sarcophagus, cursed by her own priests. Yet the identification remains disputed. Egyptologists Mark Gabold from Montpellier, Aidan Dodson from Bristol, both insist the Younger Lady is not Nefertiti at all, that she's Nefertiti's sister, or Kia, or an unknown princess entirely. The debate hasn't subsided. And here's what's remarkable. The Nefertiti bust itself in Berlin's Neues Museum has never undergone DNA testing because inside it is hollow, painted limestone, no biological material, no answers. The real answer lies there in the sand. And possibly it's already been found. The world simply refuses to acknowledge it. But if the body in KV-35 truly is Nefertiti, then where is the body that should have been in her official tomb? Where did the queen from the historical chronicles go? And why did someone so carefully erase her name from temple walls in antiquity? Akhenaten, modern name Amarna, approximately 1345 BC, a city built from nothing in the middle of the desert in 5 years. 100,000 inhabitants, wide avenues, palaces, open-air temples. This is the capital of Pharaoh Akhenaten, husband of Nefertiti, the man who abolished all the gods of Egypt and kept only one, the solar disk, the Aten. 17 years after its founding, the city is empty. Inhabitants gone, palaces buried in sand. The names of Akhenaten and Nefertiti chiseled off every stela. Cartouches erased. Statues smashed with hammers, methodically across the face, across the chest, across every inscription. Someone desperately wanted them forgotten. Winter, 1907. American archaeologist Theodore Davis excavates in the Valley of the Kings, in a tomb later designated KV-55, 20 meters underground. Narrow corridor. Suffocating heat. Inside, a wooden coffin with the face scraped off. Not damaged, scraped. Deliberately gouged down to bare wood. In the sarcophagus, the mummy of a young man, approximately 25 years old. Davis is convinced he's found Queen Tai, mother of Akhenaten. He announces it to newspapers. Hangs a placard on the tomb. A year later, anatomist Grafton Elliott Smith unwraps the mummy in Cairo and writes a brief report. This is not a woman. This is a man. Davis refuses to believe it until his death. The local tomb guardian, a Copt named Yusuf Darwamali, tells visiting reporters a legend he heard from his grandfather. He says that in this tomb lies buried a pharaoh without a face, one whom the gods refuse to accept. The journalists write it down with smirks. In 1907, such stories are material for tabloid columns. 103 years later, DNA from KV-55's mummy enters the same laboratory in Cairo and produces a result that makes Zahi Hawass's voice shake at the press conference. This is Tutankhamun's father, and the biological brother of the younger lady from KV-35. Brother and sister, husband and wife, parents of the boy pharaoh whose golden face is known to every child on the planet. Who is this man from KV-55? Here begins the most painful point in all of Egyptology. The skull indicates age, approximately 25 years at death. Possibly up to 30. Methodologies disagree. But Akhenaten, according to official records, ruled 17 years and died a mature man, close to 40. The numbers don't match, meaning KV-55 holds not Akhenaten, but someone else. Someone young, of royal blood, biological brother of Nefertiti, or biological brother of a younger lady, if these are two different women. The name specialists whisper most often, Smenkhare, the phantom pharaoh who ruled between Akhenaten and Tutankhamun. Sometimes 2 years, sometimes less. Almost nothing remains of him. No tomb bearing his name. No statues. No clear chronology. A ghost. And here's the twist that makes some researchers' legs buckle. British Egyptologist Nicholas Reeves in 2014 publishes an analysis of Amarna period sarcophagus inscriptions. His conclusion: Smenkhare is not a separate man at all. Smenkhare is Nefertiti. She changed her name, became co-regent with her husband in his final years, and after his death, ruled as pharaoh independently. Meaning, according to this version, Nefertiti ruled Egypt as a man, with a ceremonial beard, wearing the double crown, bearing the full titulary of a pharaoh, and died earlier than anyone thought. This can be explained simply. Imagine a family business in a small town. The head, the father. When he dies, the business transfers to the son. But if there's no son, only a wife, she's legally declared a male heir, so the tax authorities don't ask questions. In ancient Egypt, this happened. Hatshepsut, 200 years before Nefertiti, ruled wearing a false beard and male regalia. Precedent existed. The bitter irony: if Reeves is correct, then in her final years, Nefertiti wasn't Nefertiti at all. She was someone else entirely with a different name. And that's precisely why her body is so difficult to identify. In the smashed face of the younger lady in KV 35, this may not be accidental damage at all. This is execution after death. The ancient Egyptian practice, damnatio memoriae, destruction of the face, meant destruction of the soul. Because without a face, the deceased could not breathe in the afterlife, could not eat, could not speak to the gods. Someone desperately wanted this woman never to reach Osiris. And that someone lived in the palace, walked the same corridors, ate from the same dishes. This wasn't an invading army. This was family. It gets worse. The 2010 DNA test revealed something else, discussed less often in popular articles. The younger lady's mother is Queen Tai. The same applies to the man from KV 55. They share a mother. They share a father, Amenhotep III. This means if the younger lady truly is Nefertiti, then Nefertiti was not the daughter of Azir-I, as believed for a century. She was the biological daughter of a pharaoh, a princess of the blood, sister to her own husband. Every genealogy drawn in textbooks breaks at this line. Late evening now. In Cairo, early morning. In Berlin, an empty museum with an illuminated bust behind armored glass. And somewhere in the archives of the Cairo Museum, in a refrigerator, lies a tissue sample that could confirm all of this definitively, or definitively disprove it. Only the test hasn't been repeated. 12 years of silence. Why? Cairo, Egyptian Museum, Tahrir Square. February 2010. Zahi Hawass, then head of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, exits to face journalists. Cameras from BBC, National Geographic, Discovery Channel. He reads the test results. The room applauds. Next day, headlines worldwide. The mystery of Tutankhamun solved. A month later, quiet scandal begins. A group of independent geneticists, Swiss, German, American, publish a response in the same journal. Written politely, but firmly, samples may have been contaminated. The STR marker methodology is outdated for ancient DNA. Egypt's tropical climate destroys genetic material faster than northern mummies. The Hawass team's conclusions, they write, cannot be considered proven. Zahi Hawass responds on television, says foreigners want to steal Egypt's history. The discussion turns into a diplomatic incident. The tests are not repeated. A year later, revolution in Tahrir Square. Hawass is removed from his position. The laboratory where the analysis was conducted is partially destroyed in the riots. Some samples disappear, not stolen, simply vanish from inventory logs. No one knows where. Imagine a small bakery with only one recipe for its signature bread. And one morning, the notebook with that recipe disappears from the table. No one saw anything. No one is to blame. It's simply gone. That's how certain Amarna period samples disappeared. Since then, 12 years, there's been no comprehensive independent retest of Tutankhamun's DNA or the younger lady's. Requests from German and British universities have been declined by Egyptian authorities. Politely but firmly. Reasons vary. Preservation of the mummies, respect for the dead, internal protocols. And here's where honesty demands acknowledgement. No one knows anything with certainty. Reeves's theory that Nefertiti became the pharaoh Smenkhare. This is hypothesis. Respected, but hypothesis. Identification of a younger lady as Nefertiti remains disputed. Egyptologists, including Kathleen Martinez and Aidan Dotson, still insist on alternative candidates. But one fact hasn't disappeared. DNA showed Tutankhamun's parents were biological siblings. This is no longer hypothesis. This is analysis. And from this flows what school textbooks prefer to omit. The 18th dynasty was not a family in the conventional sense. It was a closed genetic loop. Sisters married brothers. Nieces married uncles. Daughters sometimes married fathers. Not from perversion, from politics. The blood of the pharaoh had to flow only within the royal house, because it was believed this blood contained divinity itself. Payment arrives in skeletons. Tutankhamun died at 18. Left foot deformed. Metatarsal bone necrotic. Femur fractured shortly before death. Malaria in the blood. Cleft palate. Scoliosis. Immune system compromised. The boy who inherited the throne of the ancient world's greatest empire walked with a cane. In his tomb, 130 canes. 130. Archaeologists wondered for decades why a pharaoh needed so many. Now they know. He couldn't walk without them. This is the price of dynastic incest. Biology recognizes no crowns. Genes duplicated too closely begin to fracture. Immunity collapses. Bones warp. Children are born and die in infancy. Tutankhamun and his wife Akhenaten, incidentally his half-sister, had 2 pregnancies. Both ended with stillborn daughters. Their tiny mummies were found in his tomb, in miniature sarcophagi, placed side by side. The dynasty ended because living heirs ran out. And now the central point. If the younger lady is Nefertiti, then what stands before history is not simply the beauty from the Berlin bust. What stands before history is a woman who knew her child was sick, who possibly watched her daughters die. And with Akhenaten, she had 6, half of whom didn't reach adulthood, who possibly, in her final years, donned a masculine crown herself to save what could still be saved. And someone, her successors, priests of the old gods, the new pharaoh Horemheb, hated everything she had done so intensely that they smashed her face after death, so she could not breathe in the afterlife. So her name would be erased. They nearly succeeded. For 300 years, Nefertiti appeared on no official king list. She was deleted from history. What brought her back? A German archaeologist in 1912 who accidentally lifted from the sand a limestone bust with one eye. He sent it to Berlin. It was hidden in a basement for 70 years. Then exhibited. Now her face is recognized by every schoolchild on the planet. Irony dense enough to cut with a knife. What does this mean? A simple thing. The history taught in schools is not what happened. It's what survived. What wasn't smashed, burned, or rewritten in time. Every name in a textbook is an accident. Every face in a museum is a survivor. Somewhere beneath the sand still lie pharaohs the world will never know. Wives who were erased. Children who were forgotten. And the next time someone stands before museum glass, looking at a beautiful stone face, the truth behind it should be remembered. A shattered cheek, incest, dead daughters, a cursed tomb, and 12 years of silence in a Cairo laboratory. Beauty is always what remains after someone tried to destroy everything else. Because next, there's another tomb. The one Nicholas Reeves is searching for right now, behind the wall of Tutankhamun's burial chamber. A tomb that shouldn't exist, but ground-penetrating radar shows it. And if he's right, what lies inside will rewrite everything.